E salve a tutti ragazzi e bentornati sul canale, rieccoci qui con Remastered. Mi raccomando, voi vi invito come sempre a commentare sotto al video per farmi sapere se avete delle idee su chi potrebbe essere l'assassino, se l'abbiamo già incontrato, se non l'abbiamo incontrato. E riprendiamo dove ci siamo lasciati. Abbiamo interrogato il clandestino, che comunque sta mentendo secondo il nostro agente Zellner. E dobbiamo qui esaminare la stiva, l'armadietto e la cassa col foro di proiettile. Quindi, che ci fa qua la cassa col foro di proiettile? Se lo sparo è avvenuto sopra? Comunque, iniziamo dall'armadietto.
The cargo hold also seems to serve as a changing room for the crew, at least for the ones who don't wear white uniforms.
Apri l'armadietto.
A stroke of luck. The lock is open. Oil-stained overalls. And here, an old toolbox.
Esamina la casetta degli attrezzi.
It's been through a lot. Hardly any paint, dented, and the lid is held shut by a wire. I'll take it with me. Some wrenches, a bit of wire wool, an oily cloth, and here, a screwdriver.
E quindi cosa abbiamo preso? Filo metallico e cacciavite. Va bene. Esamina la cassa con il foro di proiettile.
Whoever fired the shot hit the crate. Did the shooter just want to intimidate me? Or maybe he needed the bullet. Can't see anything. If the bullet is still stuck in the wood, it's too deep to reach with my fingers.
Aspetta, se usiamo questo?
No. The bullet hole is too small for the tongs.
Ok, il filo metallico?
The wire is too flexible to pull something out of the hole. I need something less bendy.
Il cacciavite mi è rimasto. Sì, cacciavite.
Well, I think the bullet is still in the wood. I'm not a weapons specialist, but at first sight I'd say that this bullet looks exactly the same as the one Dr. Gebhardt gave me for Legrand. That would mean that the murderer also fired a shot here in the cargo hold before the murder. But why?
È quello che dobbiamo scoprire.
Did they just want to make sure the old guns still worked? Or was it something else? And did the bullet really come from the same gun? I can only check that in Legrand's cabin.
Però dobbiamo entrare in quella cacchio di cabina. Però magari forse mo col filo metallico forse possiamo dovremmo riuscire a passare. Quindi dai, proviamo ad andare alla cabina di restart e vediamo che cosa riusciamo a fare col filo metallico e il cacciavite. Aia, questo è vero, stava fuori.
That takes the biscuit.
I noticed that the door was unguarded. I just wanted to make sure that everything was all right.
Tell it to Legrand. He's expressly forbidden anyone to speak to the witness before he does.
Non faccia così. Lei mi ha dato il permesso? Sì, non ci crederà mai. È stato lei a non essere attento. Ecco, diamogli la colpa. È stato lei a non essere stato attento.
All right, let's go to Legrand and tell him what happened. You fell asleep and then you left the door unguarded. Well, are we going?
No, but don't try it again.
Of course not.
Ok, abbiamo ottenuto quello che volevamo fare. Adesso raggiungiamo la stanza dell'ispettore.
The lock isn't especially secure. I should be able to open it with the wire from the cargo hold.
Ok. Ah, c'è pure il minigioco. Ah, che devo fare? Cioè, posso... Sì, ma come lo spingo dentro? Posso alzare e abbassare. Allora, ragazzi, sto riprovando vari tentativi. Teoricamente i cilindretti sono questi qua, cioè dovrebbero superare questa striscia qui. E teoricamente ci sono. Manca solo questo, vediamo. Ok. Che faticaccia.
There we go.
Allora, vediamo cosa si può fare in questo studio. Allora, inizierei qua dalle foto sul muro.
Legrand must have taken them yesterday at the crime scene. This photo provides an overview of the crime scene. Shot in her sleep. She didn't feel a thing. She went to sleep and never woke up. A rough diagram of the ship. Legrand marked the Baroness's cabin. Seems like he didn't turn up anything else of note. Yes. The bed, the blood spot. The spot on the sheet is much bigger than the one on the mattress. There's blood on the blanket as well. A lot of blood, I'd say. Yes, that's how we found her yesterday, I think. I wasn't really myself at the time.
Vabbè, il bagno lo vediamo dopo perché abbiamo visto che stava facendo robe strane nel bagno. Attrezzatura forense.
A masterpiece. Forensic teams use kits like these. They're placing increasing importance on the preservation of evidence. But not in Switzerland yet. It's a small lab used to conduct simple analysis on site. All right, what have we got here?
Allora, esamina il pennello.
Half of the tools in this box would be interesting for an archaeologist as well. Actually, forensics and archaeology are really quite similar to each other. The goal is to find out what happened, whether a few hours ago or a few centuries ago.
Esami prodotti chimici.
Good Lord. Good Lord. Good Lord. Good Lord.
Vabbè, sempre buon Dio, ok.
Good Lord.
Esamina le bustine. Aspetta. Vabbè, vai.
What's this? Oh, how practical. A hermetically sealed cotton swab for collecting samples. I'll take it.
Sì, vabbè, se ne accorge che l'abbiamo preso. La vaschetta di vetro.
A small glass bowl for mixing chemicals. A small glass bowl. I'm sure Legrand could work magic in this alchemist lab. Me, I'm just awestruck. For forensics in the woods or the open country, I suppose. No use on a ship.
Ok, credo... Aspetta, il guanto.
Fingerprints are overrated. Smart thieves wear gloves, or they make sure that there are too many fingerprints at the crime scene to check them all.
Ok, credo che qui abbiamo finito. Vediamo che altro possiamo guardare. Fate vedere cos'è che... Proiettile e tampone di cotone. Forse questo verrà usato nella stanza della baronessa. Poi qua che c'è?
Legrand must have taken and developed the photos himself. He even made copies and enlargements. He seems to be prepared for everything, with access to more resources than a normal detective.
E non lo posso usare sto canocchiale tipo per vedere il proiettile. No, Vabbè, andiamo a vedere il bagno.
Smells like chemicals. Legrand probably developed the photos in here. There are still fragments of the syringe that the inspector broke in the sink. Why is he pushing himself like this? Even if he catches the Raven, is it worth ruining his career and his health? Another alarm. It was tripped at...
Vabbè, qua pare non si possa fare niente. Allora, ragazzi, andiamo alla stanza della baronessa col tampone. Vediamo se riusciamo a fare qualcosa.
The blood spot is the only sign that someone committed a crime in here.
Che poi
Somehow...
ha detto che l'hanno
That's
sparata
odd.
al
The
cuore.
blood is so red. Shouldn't it gradually darken in the air? Turn brown?
È recente.
The unusual color of the blood could be something that Legrand and Dr. Gebhardt missed last night. All cats are gray in the dark, as the saying goes. I should take a sample. The unusual...
Allora, tampone.
I always wanted to do that. That should be enough.
Ok.
The door frame was damaged when Dr. Gebhardt kicked it in. The real question is, why was the door locked in the first place? Assuming the murderer isn't a magician, and the Baroness locked the door herself before she went to bed, the murderer couldn't have left the cabin through the door. So, the murderer must have still been in here when Dr. Gebhardt kicked the door in. Which is unlikely because someone would have seen him, or he found another way out of the cabin.
Va bene. Ora, ragazzi, dovremo tornare giù nella stanza dell'ispettore ed esaminare il tampone che abbiamo preso. O forse dal medico. No, andiamo dall'ispettore, che con quello c'è tutta l'attrezzatura buona. Vai, che non c'è nessuno. Allora, qui. Sì, però...
Good Lord, which of these chemicals are for analyzing blood?
appunto.
Good Lord,
non posso
which
andare a
of these
caso.
chemicals are for analyzing blood?
Non c'è qualche indizio. Apri il cassetto. Fascicolo.
Aha! This is some kind of inventory list. For each chemical, it lists the chemical composition and a short comment on how to use it. And here's a list of the most important procedures. Fingerprints, gunshot residue, blood. Well, it explains how to confirm that something is blood. That's a start. You have to mix luminol and a hydrogen peroxide solution and then drip or spray the mixture on the blood. The solution turns blue and glows even if there's just a very small amount of blood. Okay then, luminol and hydrogen peroxide.
Allora, luminol e coso. Trovato, questo qui. In pratica basta passare il mouse e quello che ti serve viene evidenziato. Diventa verso il luminol, quindi questo.
Aha! Luminol.
Poi il prelissio, carbonio, là, cosa che serviva. Eccolo qua.
And there's the hydrogen peroxide. I'll mix it with the luminol in the bowl. Okay. I can detect blood with this mixture. The clear solution turns blue if it comes into contact with blood.
Ora devo mettere il tampone.
I think it's better to drip the solution on the swab instead of dipping the swab into the solution. Maybe oxygen is an issue, or it doesn't work if you use too much.
In che senso, scusa?
All right, so this is our reagent liquid.
Forse mi serve una boccetta vuota, non lo so, cioè...
I have to drip or spray the solution on the blood.
Devo versare o spruzzare la cosa. Ah, la pipetta. Ok.
Okay, I'm filling the pipette and putting it down very carefully.
Ok, adesso...
So, let's see what we have here. No blood. Not the slightest reaction. If I didn't make a mistake, and it wasn't that difficult, then the spot on the Baroness's bed isn't really blood. But if it isn't blood, what is it? And more importantly, why didn't Dr. Gebhardt notice anything? He was supposed to have examined everything. I'd say it's time to visit the medical center.
Ma vabbè, pure l'ispettore si doveva accorgere che non era veramente sangue. Però la baronessa è morta. Almeno. Cioè, fino a prova contraria risulta morta. Ma poi anche la posizione dello sparo, aveva detto che è stata colpita al cuore. Il sangue però si trovava più giù, verso i piedi del letto, quindi c'è qualcosa che non quadra. Forse la serratura del centro medico. Ma pure qua abbiamo forzato la serratura, che pizza.
It seems impossible that Dr. Gebhardt could have shot the Baroness. He was with me when the gunshot ran out. But he must have noticed that the Baroness was lying in a pool of fake blood. Maybe he's covering for someone. Let's find out.
Chi sta coprendo? Il dottore? Ah, ok, ha aperto la porta senza fare il giochetto. Allora, cerca nell'armadietto. Però prima di esaminare le rotelle... Allora, esamina la sedia a rotelle.
It's probably for emergencies, in case a passenger falls down and can't walk anymore. Possibly due to rough seas, or maybe the captain's well-stocked bar.
Cerca nell'armadietto.
I guess the trash bin is in here. Right. Paper towels, plastic packaging, cartons, and... Hold on. What's this?
Quanto
A
sporco.
burst rubber glove. It's knotted, and there's a red liquid all over the inside that looks like blood. I bet good money that it's the same fake blood I found in the Baroness's cabin.
Ma infatti, se ricordate, il dottore era anche un po' nervoso. Cioè, nell'episodio precedente era molto nervoso, ci rispondeva male, quindi sì, nasconde qualcosa sicuramente. Ora resta da capire che cosa nasconde. Vediamo che altro si può esaminare. Fruga nel cassetto.
Interesting. A tape on a reel. The reel belongs to a much better player, like the one from the Baroness's cabin. I can't be certain that this is the reel that was missing from the Baroness's cabin, but it seems quite likely.
Però questa possiamo ascoltarla qua.
A tape recorder from Sibling. Interesting. The reel in the Baroness's cabin is from the same company. A microphone was plugged into the tape recorder. Maybe Dr. Gebhardt records the results of his examinations and writes them down later. The player is rather basic.
Scusa, usa il nastro con. Carica il nastro. Però noi ce l'abbiamo anche nell'inventario un nastro. Ora vediamo questo nastro, nel caso ascoltiamo anche l'altro.
Nothing strange. There.
Lo sparo.
Very interesting.
Hai sentito lo sparo? Io però ho anche l'altro nastro. Posso ascoltarlo? No.
A shot is audible on the tape, and the reel comes from the Baroness's cabin. It's all coming into focus.
No, questo non me lo fa ascoltare. Quindi sì, il nastro originale è quello che abbiamo sentito. Lo sparo. Non so, usciamo da qua adesso, andiamo dall'ispettore.
Time to pay Legrand a visit. No.
Lo sapevo.
No, no, don't.
Oh, capitolo 1 completato. D'accordo ragazzi. Allora, andiamo giusto avanti 2 secondi giusto per salvare la partita. Però noi ci salutiamo qui fra poco, quindi vediamo giusto che succede. Così vi lascio anche l'ansia.
Why couldn't you just leave it be? Let me go.
Ci ha drogato.
Why are you doing this to me? You and the Baroness. Dr. Gebhardt, I don't know. Don't you understand what you are forcing me to do? You don't have to. It is almost over. You won't feel a thing. I am sorry you have to see all this. I should have used more chloroform.
Però ragazzi, mi voglio liberare prima di salutarci, quindi dai, liberiamoci. Esamina la bottiglia marrone.
Chloroform. Still partly numb.
Ma come faccio a cercare che non mi posso manco muovere? Aspetta. Alza il poggiapiedi. Ah, ok.
Have to distract him.
Devo distrarlo. Ah, ok, parlando. Omicidio. No, il suo piano.
And what next? Heart failure happens a lot at your age, especially given your background. I am still considering whether I should throw you overboard. Don't leave evidence. No evidence. But what if I'm seen? My plan was perfect. And then you ruined everything. A pair of scissors.
Sì, ma non gridare però. Prendi le forbici. Sciogli i cighi, però parliamo nel frattempo.
Keep
talking?
Omicidio della baronessa.
Why?
Why did the
Però non mi
baroness
fa
have to snoop around?
interagire.
Why did you have to snoop around? And that glove there. You want to plant evidence on me, yeah? I left no evidence. There is no trail. And yet you can't just leave me in peace, can you?
Però se io parlo poi mi fa agire, quindi sciogli le cinghie. Prendi il cloroformio. Aia. Cazzo. Non c'è niente che posso fare?
Take it easy, Mr. Zellner. You will only hurt yourself. Shall we begin?
Usa la siringa.
It's almost over. I will.
Oh, è venuto qualcuno a salvarci.
Are you okay?
Thanks.
A wet towel works miracles. I told you so.
Out with it then. What were you doing down there?
Inspector,
Stavo
please
indagando.
let the constable recover his breath.
He almost killed himself.
Me? No. Dr. Gebhardt would have taken care of that for me. Where is he?
Gebhardt is vanished without a trace. We're searching the ship from top to bottom.
One at a time. Tell me, Zelda.
Sus, come hanno fatto a
What
farlo
did you find
scappare il
out?
dottore?
Dr. Gebhardt killed Baroness von Trebitz.
Impossible.
Do you have proof?
Besides the fact that he wanted to kill me?
But wasn't the doctor with you when the shot was fired?
Allora, lo sparo era solo una distrazione. Lo sparo proveniva dalla registrazione. Ma comunque lo sparo proveniva dalla registrazione.
The shot that we heard was a recording. The Baroness had a tape recorder and good speakers in her cabin. Good enough to make the noise audible on the upper deck.
Is that just your suspicion? Or do you have proof?
Il nastro magnetico nel centro medico.
There's an audio tape in the medical center. The reel belongs to the tape player in the Baroness's cabin. And there's a sibling reel in her cabin that belongs to the recorder in the medical center. He recorded it in the cargo hold. His tape recorder has a microphone, and I removed a bullet from one of the boxes down there.
And it came from the murder weapon?
All right. Inspector Legrand. Let's pretend you're onto something. The shot we heard was just a recording. What happened next?
We all ran to the Baroness's cabin. She lay comatose in a pool of blood. Dr. Gebhardt pushed past you so that you couldn't get too close to the Baroness. He examined her and pronounced her dead. There was no reason for us to doubt him. The shot, the blood, the Baroness lying there lifelessly. But she was only unconscious, knocked out by the chloral hydrate that the doctor had poured into her glass shortly before.
The doctor had a glass in his hand when you came in.
He wanted to remove the evidence, but you gave me the glass instead, Captain DeCanti, and unintentionally knocked me out as well.
Nonsense. There was blood everywhere. And the Baroness is certainly dead enough, isn't she?
Then who did shoot her? And when?
Allora, non è stata sparata, è stata avvelenata. Il dottore nella struttura medica e il dottore nella cabina. Non è stata teoricamente questa. Però il dottore nella cabina, perché lui era nella cabina.
As I already said, it was Dr. Gebhardt.
Cioè, vedi, dobbiamo
He shot the
insistere.
sleeping Baroness in her cabin, barely 10 meters away from us.
What are you saying?
The doctor was alone in the cabin for a while. When the alarm went off, it was deafening. I couldn't even hear myself.
And I found a pillow with burn marks. Could have been used to muffle a gunshot.
And the blood?
The blood wasn't real. Dr. Gebhardt mixed up a liquid that looked like fresh blood to the casual observer, but the liquid remained red instead of becoming darker and browner from exposure to the air. That meant he had to clean the body and get rid of the bedding.
But the blood was already there when we first entered the cabin.
Dr. Gebhardt was in the Baroness's cabin before the murder. He hid a surgical glove full of the red liquid under her sheet. The Baroness, dead tired, fell onto her bed, the glove burst, and the blood spread across the bed. I found the burst glove in the medical center.
But why did he do it? What was his motive?
Inspector?
Allora, era tutto a causa dell'occhio della Sfinge. Aveva ricattato il dottore. Posso solo fare congetture. No, in realtà non so se effettivamente il dottore è collegato con l'assassino e con il corvo. Quindi facciamo solo delle congetture.
I can only speculate. The Baroness spent the day rummaging through her old family photos.
No.
Do you have anything to contribute, Constable?
Confession, sir. Dr. Gebhardt was the Raven. It's all here. He admits to everything.
What does it say?
It says, "Do you still remember, my dear Nico? The streets were wet with rain and the scent of roasted barley and fermenting yeast wafted over to us from the brewery. A dog barked until your shot struck down the innocent one. After that silence, not a single sound except for my soft steps fading on the wet cobblestone street. They made a hero of you, and I, at last, found peace. At least until the urge returned. Some of us are not made for retirement, my friend. I thought they would assign this case to you, and that thought pleased me. We'd finally find out who was truly the better man. And it pains me now to have to admit that you and your little gumshoe got the better of me. You drove me into a corner, forced me to make mistakes. I congratulate you on your triumph, but no one will confine the Raven to a cage. There is but one way out, and that is by my own hand. Farewell, Raven Hunter R.
Possibile?
Inspector Legrand.
Possibile che il medico era il
Inspector?
corvo.
I was right. I told them all, over and over again. But no one would listen.
Dottor Gebhardt, la lettera. Parliamo del dottore.
You think that Dr. Gebhardt was really the Raven?
The things Gebhardt describes in his letter aren't part of any police report. Only someone who was there would know them.
Couldn't there have been others involved? One of the police, for instance. What if one of them changed sides?
Why is it so hard for you to accept the simple truth? There was never a new Raven. There was only ever the old one. And that was Dr. Gebhardt.
The modus operandi doesn't match. The Raven was not a killer.
Legends are rarely what they seem to be, Constable Zellner.
L'uomo morto.
Then who was the man who was killed back then?
William Jackson, a petty thief, committed some burglaries together with his brother. Talented, but not world-class.
And they thought he was the Raven.
Some people thought it was part of his disguise. If you're a debonair master thief, what better disguise than pretending to be a common crook? From time to time you let them catch you pulling small jobs, and no one ever imagines you're capable of a major heist.
But you didn't believe it.
I had my doubts, but everyone congratulated me, and those doubts were pushed aside. It was like being caught in a storm, But eventually the storm passed and my doubts were still there.
But not this time? No doubts telling you that Gebhardt isn't our man?
It must be him.
Non lo so, ragazzi, e si è risvoltato tutto così facile, mi sembra troppo facile.
What about the handwriting, the wording? Does the farewell letter match the Raven's other letters?
Yes, it's his handwriting, his words. I've read all the Raven's letters, all of them, over and over again.
I never thought it was possible. A resurrected Raven.
The Raven was never dead. I shot the wrong man.
But that man had the stolen goods, didn't he? So he must have been in league with the Raven. One could hardly call him innocent. Where do we go from here?
We deliver the eye and then I'll contact Paris. A task force will compare all of Gephardt's known residences with the Raven's activity.
And if there are any inconsistencies?
You're welcome to keep an eye on the safe if you can't let it go. The ship will remain in Cairo for 1 day. That's all the time you'll have to catch your own Raven. I already have mine.
Ah, you're one of Legrand's men, aren't you?
My name is Anton Jakob Zellner.
You've come just in time. Grace, my dachshund, is missing.
There may be more important matters for me to attend to, Mr.
Director Abbas Mokhtar. And Grace isn't just a common dog. She's a purebred German dachshund, a champion.
Allora, vabbè ragazzi, facciamo questo discorso e poi ci salutiamo. A quanto pare siamo arrivati al Cairo. Allora, Ispettore Legrand.
Inspector Legrand, Professor Lucien, and Constable Oliver are overseeing the transportation of the safe. They should be here at any moment. I'll have a look around in the meantime.
Do you think that's necessary? The Raven is dead, after all.
If you mean Dr. Gebhardt, his body was never recovered. Nor the stolen eye of the Sphinx, for that matter.
It does us a great honor that the Inspector is concerned about us. But we have everything under control.
Legrand isn't as concerned as he should be. But I am. Is the museum closed?
Yes. Only carefully selected guests may enter the museum during preparations for the gala. And of course, you're one of them, Mr. Constable.
What can you tell me about the museum's security system?
One of the best on the market. And the second eye will still be exhibited in our special treasure chamber, which is extra secure.
Treasure chamber?
See for yourself, to the right of the entrance. The eye is as safe as the British Crown jewels.
Questi sono troppo sicuri, ste persone.
I think I'll have a look around the museum.
Please do. There's a lot to see. And you let me know if you see Grace, won't you? I hope we find her before the great inspector arrives. Isn't it fantastic how he solved the murder on the ship?
Legrand?
Of course. It's in all the newspapers. The murder of the wealthy Baroness von Trebitz, and how the great Inspector Legrand identified the murderer in just
Ma non è
one
vero.
day. It's the stuff legends are made of. You should count yourself lucky to have the chance to learn from him.
Ma ho fatto tutto io, ho fatto. Scusa, giornali.
What exactly do the newspapers say?
Everything. It's fantastic. Someone on board must have informed the press immediately. Of course, it's a great advertising for us. The reporters will queue up tonight.
And it was reported that Legrand found the murderer.
Of course! Who else?
Well, I wasn't exactly uninvolved.
Of course. Legrand surely has assistants, but honor to he who deserves to be honored. Right?
Well then.
Be seeing you, Constable.
Cioè, Legrand non ha fatto
Grace.
niente.
Here, Gracie. My sweetheart. Where are you?
Oh, Mr. Inch.
Mr. Inch. There you are. I am so sorry. Baroness von Trebitz was a good-hearted woman. She did so much for the museum.
As you say, sir.
And you? Are you leaving so soon?
I'd like to go back to my hotel. These last days have been such a strain.
First, you sneak into the museum without greeting me, and then you want to leave just as quickly?
I didn't want to disturb you, and we'll have time enough tonight.
Yes, you simply must come tonight. I wanted to present Baroness von Trebitz with a medal. Now you'll have to accept it.
Of course, if you insist, sir.
The Baroness paid for all this. Without her, there wouldn't have been an exhibition or a gala.
She was very generous.
Yes, she was.
If you'll excuse me now. Constable Zellner, I want to thank you again for all you've done. You saved me, you could say.
My pleasure. See you tonight.
Mi salta in mente un pensiero. Non è che il maggiordomo era d'accordo per l'eredità? D'accordo ragazzi, allora fermiamoci qui per questo episodio. Spero che comunque la serie vi stia piacendo. Poi mi raccomando, come sempre, vi invito a mettere like, a commentare e a iscrivervi al canale. Scrivetemi sotto nei commenti se avete sospettato che l'assassino fosse il dottore del guard, se siete convinti che il Corvo sia lui oppure è solo una messa in scena. Che altro? Spero che vi stia piacendo e noi ci rivediamo sempre qui sul canale con un nuovo video. Un saluto da Mizzaragaret. Ciao, Wagliu!